Hello everyone. This is Candy Grandpre. I'm back. So, first of all, some people, help me out financially a little bit, or like give me like $100 or $200 for a hotel room, for emergency from Hurricane Delta or something, and they prefer to remain private. And I respect that because the Bible talks about not doing your alms before men. So I respect that. So, but I wanted to say that even it doesn't have to be about any money, but just watching my videos or giving positive feedback or supportive comments or supporting me emotionally, and being a friend and caring. It's a shocking surprise to me because, you know, to be trained pretty much all your life that you're not worthy enough to deserve not one person to love or care about you. And me getting treated the way I get treated everywhere. Um, I see my camera looks like as if yeah, something ain't right. I don't like when cameras do that with my voice. The it's like it's like your lips move after after your words on the camera, if you get what I'm talking about. So it's a shock to me in a good way that just anybody cares about me when family is absent. But the only time I'm on somebody's mind is to punish me or hurt me or when I owe money, like rent or bills or something. But I'm not usually late on bills, and it's nobody's business where my storage unit is. But if I were to tell the gang stalkers, no, I never was late. Except one time at the other storage unit in Gretna, Louisiana, in 2018, when all my stuff got stolen, and then the Social Security office, what they did was stop my checks because they wrongfully assumed that I was dead. And this is what the gang stalking Social Security people do. They do stuff like, I tell them, make sure that you change my address on both the Social Security record and the SSI record. And they purposely do the SSI and not the Social Security because the SSI check is like only $23 and the big Social Security check is $780. So they want to make sure I don't get that $780. They know what they're doing. So they stopped my checks. So I was like, wow. I thought Social Security was guaranteed no matter what. So they gang stalked me really heavily and abused me so bad that I was militant on saying I don't want Social Security no more. And then they try to make like as if I can't stop my Social Security, that I have to continue getting it. I'm like, I don't want Social Security and SSI no more. They're like, well, if you don't want Social Security or SSI check anymore, then we're going to make you pay back all the money from over 15 years ago, ever since you started getting it. So it's like basically I'm trapped on this Social Security. And on the one hand, people tell me, they make it like as if they try to block me from working or that nobody wants me to work. And I have that Social Security ticket to work card. Been having it. And so I never really got to put it to full use. And blocked, if I do get to work, I'm blocked from working full time. I always say I want to work full time, but no, they keep me part time. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. How can I use my ticket to work card then? So they said that targeted individuals are only allowed that your finances and your money is monitored and controlled very closely, and you're only allowed to have like a certain amount of low income, that you're not allowed. They think they really delusionally believe that they're God. Who in the hell, what human being thinks that they have that much of authority over another human being? You think you got that much authority over another human being that you can control how much I'm allowed to work? So, I mean, I thought about all the rejection letters. I mean, I have screenshots of a few rejection letters from recent job. Sometimes Indeed.com will wait till nearly a year later and send me a doggone rejection letter. I'm like, really? I'm not playing. In 2017, 2018, I was applying for, like, I'm not playing. And I'm not over exaggerating. I was, trying to get something and filled out like almost 500, because you know how sometimes it's just like an easy one-click button with Indeed.com. And I didn't care. I'm like trying to get a job anywhere in the country. And I was like, I'm willing to relocate and go work there. So all those applications. And like, how the hell you apply like 500 jobs all across the country, and 3 months later, here comes one or two rejection letters. And I'm not over exaggerating. I'm not playing. And I was wondering, how come my Social Security ticket to work worker from America Works, Stacy Morgan, in New Orleans on Poydras Street, I had to cuss her out one time for playing gang. I didn't realize she was also a gang stalking perp and a narcissistic abuser. And yes, I have a right to say that. Who just wanted to keep me down. And telling me stuff like nobody's gonna hire you and stuff like that. You a narcissistic abuser when you tell me ain't nobody gonna hire you. Nobody's gonna hire you and stuff. But then she acted like she wanted to try to encourage me to do fraudulent stuff and break the law and lie and deceive. And she tried to act like as if she trying to talk me into ways of stealing Greyhound rides, or trying to cheat the Greyhound or whatever. And when I reported her to the lady in New York, her supervisor in New York, the lady had her mind made up to defend Miss Stacy against me, and I was so mad. And then Miss Stacy lied her way out of it, and then try to say, well, you use choice words, and I'm a big girl, I can take it. You deserve to have those choice words, because anytime you sit there and you're a narcissistic abuser when you used to be a freaking supervisor on a damn job. Because people with a soul, yeah, they're not power hungry, because like, and they don't usually be like bosses and supervisors and stuff, or they might be that regular employee who acts like they think they're the boss. So you might wonder why the hell somebody been a dishwasher at Popeyes for 20 years and they never move up. They're comfortable and content with, and they don't even ask for a raise. But the narcissistic abuser be like the brand new person on the job, and in less than a week you wonder how the fuck they're a manager with no job experience, and this is your first job. Yeah, they sold their soul and did a freaking ritual in order to become manager, and your ass is new. So yeah, that happened with my cousin, my fake slutty cousin, whore Rebecca Melissa Garnett. they said she was the new manager at Popeyes, and the biological brother Sean called me, Carter, Rebecca's the manager at McDonald's. Can't you believe that? You know, saying that Rebecca was the manager at McDonald's and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm talking about everybody. Not just talking shit about people. I'm freaking exposing how dirty y'all are, because y'all treat me so dirty without cause, for no reason, and I ain't seen y'all asses in years. And y'all not on my team. You gang stalking me. That's why you gonna sit there and gang stalk your own fucking cousin at your own brother's funeral for no reason at all, and I ain't seen your ass in years, ho. So yeah. You turn your nose up at me and ignore me and give me dirty looks for no reason. But now I'm doing videos about everybody. Now all of a sudden you want to freaking respond. Now you want to respond. Yeah, Rebecca, you sold your soul too. And as I said, my niece, Hellface Ugly Monica Grandpre, Monica Leanne Grandpre, I would not be surprised if people like you have Masonic connections. I don't have any proof or evidence, but it would not shock me if you got Masonic connections. So, because I'm sitting here wondering why, even as far back as 2003, you know, why all these doors closed in my face with jobs and work, and just me feeling hopeless and applying for jobs. And I remember being in high school, my senior year in high school, and applying for several. It's like I've been blacklisted from employment and everything since before my first job. So today I went and looked on Craigslist looking for jobs. So you can't say I don't try to put effort, or I'm just lazy, a lazy freeloader who wants a handout. That's y'all smear campaign, cause y'all know what y'all doing. So the other video, I don't how the hell is taking like 4 or 5 hours to upload a 15-minute video when I've been here for 2 weeks, and this is the first time this internet has worked this slow on this video right here. So yeah, I think they're trying to hold me back from exposing and speaking out. So, you know, people encourage me to just keep going with your videos, don't stop, and keep speaking the truth. And they had this guy self-righteously said, oh, I would rather die speaking the truth about Jesus than your personal truth. But then you promote New Age. It's like, you know, trying to be like just self-righteous. There are sometimes some people might expose something true. And I mean, you know, even as a Christian, people will be hated, you know, but somebody will expose something true without even realizing that they'll open up a can of worms and open up a can of worms and then are marked for death. Sometimes over the smallest little thing. So I mean, if a person try to cover up for a little child and be like, well, did Destiny eat dinner this morning? I mean, I'm sorry, did Destiny eat breakfast this morning? And then if you tell the truth and say, yeah, Destiny had breakfast this morning, you can freaking get in big trouble. Like, and then somebody get mad at the person. Say if you're Destiny's mom, the woman who, I'm just using a fictitious name. If you're Destiny's mom, and then, you know, the dad um ask a question, but then I guess your grandma's trying to. I mean, your mom, which is Destiny's grandma, trying to hide it, and you know, if she wanted to make it like as if the grandma lied to the dad and said no she ain't eat she didn't eat no breakfast, but if you say yes she did eat breakfast, I mean the grandma get mad at you and wonder, well, what like over something simple like that, you know um like what do you have to hide, grandma, that why you wanted to lie and say that Destiny didn't eat breakfast? So something like that, but I don't know if that was a good example, but um so I I went for my little walk around the hotel complex today, and then later on this evening, I mean, somebody had gave me a coupon for something, and I'm glad they treated me good over there. And then I went to go get dinner. I don't know if y'all saw that, but y'all know it was Denny's. So I went to Denny's, and if I didn't order the extra food, it was the same lady from the other lady. She was like, "Hey, I know you. I saw you at the one on Davis, at the Denny's on North Davis Highway. Yeah, where they perked me and they had that ghetto girl that threatened me." And so I just ordered my dinner, the one where I said targeted individuals are not allowed to eat good. Um, but don't freaking trip. It's not like the steak costed like $26.99 or anything like that. It was a 10-ounce steak for $12 and something. And I don't know, I think it was $12.19 or something like that, plus tax. So it was just freaking, y'all saw what it was: steak and bread, mashed potatoes, and broccoli. Ain't that healthy? I just want some freaking beef for once, because I hardly ever get to much afford beef or meals with beef, and I seldom eat hamburgers or cheeseburgers anymore. So I wanted a real dinner, because I had chicken all week so far, and maybe a little bit of canned salmon. But my other dinner that I'm gonna have tomorrow is salmon. With the same thing, mashed potatoes and gravy. I mean, mashed potato. I could have had gravy, but I just didn't want gravy this time. Excuse me, mashed potatoes and broccoli. So the other time before that I had that $9 and what's wrong with $9.99 that $9.99 of I'm sorry, my mind is glitchy right now. The $9.99 steak dinner from Texas Roadhouse Grill that everybody was tripping on. So yeah, I just freaking rubbed it in their faces. If you want to call me an entitled, greedy freeloader, I hardly even get to eat like that. You know, so I stretched the meals from fake Walmart from Sunday all the way till today. So, I mean, I still got some of that canned food. Like yesterday evening for dinner, I ate canned beef and barley. And what else did I? Oh, yeah, I had canned beef and barley for dinner last night. Um, and from Sunday through no, today for lunch, I was eating off that chicken, those little chicken boneless wings from fake Walmart. I stretched it for a few days. So I mean, that one time I went to Texas Roadhouse for that same price of steak, I could have had That same price of steak I could have had. See, they're doing this on purpose. I gotta get my earbuds. Hold up. So I put my earphones in because they got the baby screaming in the hallway. I don't have pockets right now with this dress I have on. So yeah, what else I was gonna say is yeah, so I have not had steak other than that one time with the from Texas Roadhouse. An actual steak. I don't even remember. It's been a long time. Because I don't really get to eat steak that much. But the one time I try to eat steak, I deserve to be just freaking attacked and devoured. Like, damn. 6-ounce or 10-ounce sirloin. So I didn't even just bother to freaking argue and fight. But when I told the waitress, who's an elderly lady who said that she was new, she was all nice. But if I would have just stuck with that my steak dinner, I could have walked out and feeling like I wasn't perked. But they wait till my to-go food and perk that. The new lady, trying to argue me that there were pecans in my supposed pumpkin pecan pancake. But I was touching and feeling it, and I can see no pecans. So, I mean, this pumpkin pecan pancake or whatever. And plus, y'all saw the half a thing of grits and half a thing of mashed potatoes and stuff. You can't tell me that's talking about that standard portion when y'all had y'all lies and justifications made up. So when I pointed out to her, I'm like, look, you know, the half a cup of mashed potatoes, a half bowl of grits or whatever, and then she just ignored me and walked off. And then walked back by me, and I'm like, don't even ask me how I'm doing. She's like, oh, don't ask how you're doing? Okay. So there are some perps who are attitude-wise smiling in your face, all just fake nice, but they fuck you over like really bad. Really bad. And I mean, me reading, I guess it shouldn't have been a surprise, but targeted individuals are seen as lower than human or non-human with no rights. That we are seeing, I read today that targeted individuals are considered like a thing, like an object that's not human. And they say it's part of the eugenics and racial hygiene or whatever, eugenics, and anybody who's considered imperfect must die. So, I guess the only way to become perfect is to sell out, and I'm not doing that. But I did apply today to, no, I'm sorry. I looked on Craigslist for jobs, and I thought, well, Amazon Flex sounds like a job that I can do. That would be easy. But I can't because two reasons. No car and sleep deprivation. Let's add the third reason. Probably forced to wear a mask. But I didn't see that on there, But taxi driving. People say that that's, dangerous for a woman. They need people so bad. But I can't believe around Christmas time when I tried a cab driving job, they said it was slow around Christmas holidays. I'm like, really? Or even in the summer, they say it's really slow. And it's hard. But they advertise that you can make $1,500 a week. But what they don't tell you is that $1,500 a week, about $500 goes to the company. So and the guy acted like he didn't want me to like he was trying to block me from working, or like he didn't want me to work there. And I just got up here. I'm surprised it took almost a month for me to get a job with the temp service, with the dishwashing job, and they workplace mob and perked me so bad over there. And then I had the swimming pool job. It was even worse. And I was so freaking depressed. No 17-year-old child should tell a 37-year-old what to do. You're not my boss. You're not my supervisor. No 17-year-old child isn't a supervisor or a boss at work anyway. So people purposely ignore me and purposely don't try to listen and say, well, if they're your boss, you do what they tell you to do. I say, motherfucker, they are not my boss. They are bossy, but not my boss. But you a perp playing games, purposely trying to make me go off when you want to say that. But they want to play stupid. So they have some people who are even older than me, and who's not like that little seasonal job. I think I just worked like 2 or 3 days at Honey Baked Ham in Metairie. And they had this black lady. She was older than me, not quite elderly, but almost there. And she set her, I didn't know at the time, but now I come to think of it, she was a perp. And she will order me around and tell me what to do. And they would have just this bossy co-worker with no authority over you, who try to order you around and dish out orders telling you what to do, like as if they're the supervisor and wants you to do your job their way. And then the actual supervisor get mad at me and yell at me saying I'm not following directions and stuff like that. Or they'd be like, well, who made these sandwiches? 300 sandwiches all made wrong. So well, the supervisor didn't tell us there was a certain way to make the doggone sandwiches. So, I'm just using the sandwich thing as an example, but the lady tried to tell me to, package the pickle spears a certain way. And they said, and cut the sandwiches. They said that she was doing it wrong and cutting them too small. And then I got blamed. You know, that she tried to boss and bully me and stuff. But a big argument would have happened if I'd been like, you don't tell me what to do. You're not my boss. So when I worked at the Grand Canyon, almost everybody was a perp. And I only got to work there 11 days. Narcissistic perps, too. And a lot of those Native American Navajo people, gang stalkers, out in the Grand Canyon in Arizona. I worked there through Cool Works. And now I can't even get a job at Cool Works anymore. This job I was going to be able to get in Colorado, I think it was 2018 or 19. I tried to get, but I didn't have enough money to get out there. Plus, they said that I was on my own with housing and transportation to the place. It was hard if you didn't have your own car. So, and, you know, narcissistic gang stalking co-workers who are bossy at the Grand Canyon. They had this lady named Melanie. She twisted my words and falsely accused me of what did she falsely accuse me of doing? I mean, she lied on me and said that this crazy ass lie. I think I remember she lied on me and said that I beat my neighbors upside the head with pots and pans or some weird shit. I'm like, I never told you I did that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know I never said that. But she made straight lies. And then what she did was, she's not my boss, not my supervisor on duty, but dishing out orders, telling me what to do. And she's like, you better listen to me. You better do what I tell you to. Or these line cooks, whatever. And what she did was, and that was the last straw right there. She deliberately and on purpose splashed food against the wall and didn't pick it up and left it there for 6 hours and waited till it was time for me to clock out from work. And she waited till then to deliberately and on purpose forcefully order me to clean that up. I refused to do it, and then me and her got into a heated argument, and I just threw my hands up, and I just like, I freaking quit. And some other stuff happened too. But I didn't know that this was part of the gang stalking, because I was brand new there at the Grand Canyon, and they had this Navajo guy named Alvin, and he was cooking the food, and he was definitely a perp, because he was giving me like vicious, mean looks, like soul piercing, vicious hate, anger, like for no reason. And I was brand new there. And then all these other people with a certain kind of hatred, the Native Americans ganging up on me and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, damn, this make me hate even being mixed with Native American. I don't care what your freaking features are. But, you know, I heard throughout the years, you know, about Native Americans being persecuted and killed, and killed off, and, you know, the Native American genocide and stuff like that. But even in Texas, I've dealt with Native American people who are so hard and mean enough to make me cry. Like, why they just fucking mean, just mean. So, I mean, I think there was this one nice, I think she wasn't Navajo. I think she was a different kind of Indian. But she was really nice, extra nice to me. And then she even turned against me. And they had this lady named Miss Alta Brown. She was elderly, and she was nice and giving me encouragement and stuff. And then after that, the incident happened, after I left, then she got hateful and turned against me too. Miss Alta, I would have never thought she would turn against me. She was like the grandma I never had. She was even, giving me a lot of encouragement and stuff at work. And some of even the foreign Middle Eastern people who came to Grand Canyon, they were even perping me and bossing me around. I mean, other stuff happened too, but that would be a separate, different video of me to just talk about totally, like, do a video of me talking, like, totally of my whole entire Grand Canyon work experience. It was scary working there. Even just scary being there, because I didn't realize there were gang stalking perps that when I would take my private little walks, I shouldn't have done that at night, but I think my Costa Rica experience was better than working at the Grand Canyon, because the Grand Canyon was so scary that you walk those trails, and I didn't know that they were gang stalkers, but walking the trails at the Grand Canyon, and they had this one trail that was so freaking narrow, and me being all scared and trying to not fall off. And it's like when I was driving, like, I rented a car in 2017, and I was driving it was a small, tiny ass little Ford Fiesta. I didn't like driving that thing. I didn't know it was against the law to drive sleep deprived, but I made it. And me driving through the Blue Ridge Mountains in South Carolina, Greenville. This wasn't Greenville, but it was north of Greenville, South Carolina. And me driving through the Blue Ridge Mountains to try to look for that. And I had to pass through several times to look for this one special place. If you go to findaspring.com, there are certain natural springs. And I bought me some jugs and stuff to fill it up with water. And there was a state park. I don't remember the name of the state park, but it was a state park, and I went there for a little while. But it was exhausting that I drove back and forth several times looking for that little natural spring. And I finally found it. But before then, I got exhausted because I was determined to find that spring. And I finally found it, but the gang stalkers, and which I didn't know that I was being gang stalked, they were trying to deliberately and on purpose try to get me to fall off the cliff. And driving, and I was sleep deprived, and I was going they need to make up bullies need to make up their mind. Do you want me to follow rules or not? Because when I follow the rules of the road, you get mad at that. But if I don't want to wear a mask, you still get mad at that. So, they try to speed on purpose to make me scared. Try to make me, to try to, run me off the cliff in their car. And they had this guy. When you do this, you're a narcissistic abuser. Because I was driving the speed limit, like I say, 5 miles per hour on the steep curves, or 10 miles per hour. And it was 5 miles per hour speed limit. And he got mad and moved around and sped around me. And it's like on purpose. And he got just angrily sped really fast and didn't care about his own safety if he could have fallen off a cliff himself. But yeah, they were trying to get me to fall off a cliff in a car. But God must have been watching over me, because I was sleep deprived, but I was freaking careful. But walking at the Grand Canyon, not driving, but walking in 2018 at the Grand Canyon, it was very scary. But they try to act like as if because the trail was so narrow, and they acting like they were trying to manipulate me into falling off a cliff. Y'all fucked up for that. So I mean, I was just wondering why so many mass amounts of people were I mean, some of the guests who came to stay there at the Grand Canyon were gang stalkers, and I didn't know it. I was wondering why some of the guests were rude as fuck for no reason at all. And they would do stuff like, who the hell in hotels? Like, you're that narcissistic and rich with your $150 hotel room. I think it was $150 or $250. I think it was more like $150. With your $150 a night hotel room, you're that narcissistic that housekeepers have to you leave shit in the toilet for us housekeepers to flush, and that must have been for me to gross me out. That so many masses, and I didn't think about it till now, that you had to have been a gang stalker in order to be a grown-ass man or a grown-ass woman and leave shit in the toilet after you check out. I mean, you know, when you before you check out the hotel room. That I had to be grossed out, you know. But I apologize about my shit video from last month, because I wasn't trying to be gross or nasty or anything, but it had some bloody I mean, I was just exposed that electronic harassment with the forced diarrhea, and it was bloody diarrhea, and people always act like they dismiss what I'm saying, like they don't believe me when I tell about the forced urination, forced diarrhea, forced to stay awake for 18 days, like forced sleep deprivation, them vibrating my body, and y'all say y'all targeted too. So if you saying that all you get is directed conversation and just dirty looks and a little noise campaign, but you're not being workplace mobbed and nothing really bothers you, I have to wonder if you're really targeted. If you're not really having that much activity going on. So you're a fake T.I. perp. So yes, being a targeted individual, you're gonna have hell. And they're gonna make sure you're complaining about something, and then condemn you, saying you're too negative, energy draining, and complain too much, or you always complaining about something, but you do stuff on purpose to manipulate and make me complain, and other targets. But I mean, I can't even walk. Like the very second I walked out the front door, I didn't even realize I was trying to. What happened was I walked out and then looked to the left and didn't bring my phone. And because on my little walks I don't bring my phone because of what happened with the motel with Mary. Yeah, Stars 15K arrogantly bragged and boasted about. She bragged about how she was the one. Well, she told Vice Handler on his channel those stupid gang stalking recruitment videos. I mean, why is Vice Handler talking about gang stalking recruitment and then he said gang stalking is fake? Well, why are you recruiting people for gang stalking if you say it's fake? Like he trying to say gang stalking is as fake as God and as fake as Donald Trump's hair. But you promoting something that's fake. Nah, gang stalking is real. So, they admit, these people like Vice Handler and Alex Dupree and some of the other gang stalkers and people who are associated with Charles de Merovingian, they are Jesus-hating Freemasons. They're Christ-hating Freemasons. Christ-rejecting Freemasons. So, I'm glad to be a Christian. Spiritually, it feels good. It feels so much better. Um, and it helps you get a better understanding on how this world really operates. The Bible, everything in the Bible is true. No lie in the Bible. So it's like when I walk outside, excuse me, and then I saw it was a white SUV, a white Mitsubishi with one tail light, and it was sitting there for a long time. I hurried up and ran back to my hotel room and came back outside. The thing was gone. And so then there was noise campaign. But when I tried to film thinking that the vehicle was still out there, and my video was automatically cut off. I think they did that. Cut off my video before I can walk outside. They cut off my video before I can walk fully outside, and then drove off. And I didn't realize until after I came back inside. I'm like, I thought I didn't even know that the video was cut off. So they must have remotely turned off my phone so that I couldn't have the evidence of the white SUV and the one tail light, or brake light, tail light, whatever you call it. And then I walked around like 3 times, walk around the complex. They had the noise harassment, noise campaign. With every time I go outside for my walk, they always use that weed eater, not the leaf blower, but the weed eater thing. I think they call it weed eater. It's worse than a leaf blower, more irritating, more torturous than a leaf blower. And then they had this little white boy. You can't film kids gang stalking. But he was by himself. Like, who are your parents? Who's your caretaker? I don't know. But this little white boy looked like he was about 8 years old. And he waited till he was wearing like a gray shirt and like green shorts or something. And he waited till he walked near me to artificially fake sneeze on me at least twice. But earlier, it's like the only time I see him in the afternoon is during my walks. So he artificially, like, over-exaggerate, force fake sneeze. Wait till he walked by me to sneeze twice. Sneeze on me. And he was by himself on the complex with no adult keeping an eye on him. But I'm not allowed to film children harassing me. So that's crazy that nobody was looking after that little boy. They let him just roam outside with no adult supervision. That child, and that 8-year-old child, will have the authority and the right to tell me what to do. Control how many hamburgers I should eat. But I don't eat hamburgers really anymore anyway. Not much. Seldom. So, then they had a whole bunch of vehicles gang stalking around the complex. I'm like, they're swarming like bees. Swarming like bees. So anyway, back to the steak dinner. Other than the Texas Roadhouse steak dinner a few months ago, it's like I haven't had a steak in so long that I forgot the specific terms that you use. I was trying to say, like, the lady asked me how did I want it. I was saying fully cooked. And she's like, well done. I'm like, yeah, that's it. Well done. Because I forgot, rare, medium rare, well done or whatever. So I Forgot the special terms. So that's how long it's been since I get to have steak. I hardly get to afford to eat beef that much. Like when I had my own place in Los Angeles, the beef I was hardly able to afford unless it was 99 cents a pound beef shank, or maybe $4.59 a pound. What do you call it? The beef stew meat. And I was only at the most able to afford 2 pounds. But most of the meat I was freaking living off of was pork and chicken. And when I had my own place in Los Angeles, and I wasn't asking nobody for no money, really. I didn't feel like I needed to. I mean, I had my own place, Section 8. And I was going to the food banks and stuff. Wait 3 hours. Didn't realize that was gang stalking too. And going to the food banks and stuff, now come to think about it, when I see those ghetto people, those ghetto crackheads fighting over the 10-pound bag of chicken, I don't even know if that was street theater or if that was real. And then they freaking hold up the line and the food can't get given out. That crackheads fighting over the 10-pound bag of chicken. And I thought that was funny. Because it happened every time I went to go get food at the food bank. Because they had like only the first 40 people would get the food. And the illegal Mexicans were always criminally, illegally, and undeservingly the first in line. Like as if they have more entitlements and us, more entitlement and rights than us black people. And the legal, civilized Mexicans, you know, well, unfortunately they didn't get to get the chicken either. You know, the legal, the civilized Christians, Mexicans or whatever, who acted decent, which was rare because most of their asses was freaking illegal and having their illegal family members and friends cut the damn line. Illegals ran the West Coast, and like, you're not even in this country legally. But then, you know, I hear the stories about how people talk about, well, this was their land first that was stolen from them and stuff. So that's why, you know, they come here illegally and trying to fight to take their land back. You know, excuse me. But what do you do when I'm in New Orleans? New Orleans was not Mexican territory. But you treat me like I'm unwelcome in my own hometown where I was born and raised. So, yeah, I disappointed in how long it's taken that other video. It's probably done now. So I'm just venting right now, just venting, and it's not about just telling all my business or just trying to get attention. I'm just sharing my experiences in relation to gang stalking. I'm too negative. All I do is complain. But don't cheat me on purpose and then say, oh, you complain so much. Y'all playing psych games. That's why I call it the psych world. I'm targeted by the psych world. Because y'all do nothing but manipulate and play games. And then reverse it on me and lie and say that I'm the one who's manipulative and play games. So, I mean, that's their smear campaign. While I'm hardly even, like, everybody's ignoring me because it's the fake T.I. perps that huddle together in the same way as workplace mobbing, but it's the so-called targeted individual community. That's crazy. Excuse me. So, I just have to accept being by myself. But, I heard that one of the goals is to keep you, the reason why they want you single and isolated is so that when you get blood sacrifice, there will be no visible evidence of foul play in your death. It's like, because that's how they do. Like, even with Whitney Houston, who I think was a targeted individual, and they say she was hit with DEW weapons so bad before she died. And I remember seeing a diagram of DEW weapons, and they said that she was hit all over her body with directed energy weapons. And then they drowned her in a bathtub in a satanic ritual. People hated Whitney Houston before she died. Now all of a sudden, she is the voice. She's the voice. Now, when she was alive, they weren't calling her the voice. But now, it's after she's deceased, she has that title. Excuse me. Like, when Aaliyah was alive, I didn't know, how that so many people hated her so much. After she died, she was the sweetest person and this and that. But they said that she was quiet and always positive, and she was funny. She was funny, crack jokes and stuff. And she seemed like she was down to earth and cool. But we don't know that behind closed doors. And then with the MK Ultra and then manipulating your personality and stuff, I was always, back then I used to be a people pleaser. And, always, I guess by the time I turned 25 years old, I started just cussing people out and not giving a fuck. But I have to humble myself now and not do that no more. But people make me mad, So, it's like, I'm doing the best as I can to better myself. This is really scary that, if you're targeted, they want to make sure you're by yourself. When they want to have you killed off. And me reading scary stories about, people getting murdered in mental hospitals, and that's where you want your own family members. So when they say get help, that means control, not to better yourself. And then they say you will never get better, or you will never learn your lesson till after this and after that, whatever. But it's like control and punishment for standing up for yourself or standing up for your rights or speaking the truth. So, and they'll just twist anything to their agenda. And narcissistic abusers have that witchcraft spell on everybody. They have that spell on everybody that, that charm and that spell, that just their words, people automatically gravitate and believe the narcissistic lies. And people who's supposed to stand for the truth, why all of a sudden you just switch your mind all of a sudden? Act like as if you've been just re-educated. Like as if, have y'all ever seen that YouTube video where they talk about how to become a cult leader? And somebody, that Lisa Rubin lady, said that sounds like Scientology. It's like, after joining a cult, it's like your mind is all of a sudden, like you don't believe what you used to believe, and it's like all your thoughts and opinions, everything is just different. Oh, I realized I was brainwashed. No, you're brainwashed now. I'm gonna find that video, and I'm gonna post it in the description box. So I mean, I'm supposed to leave the hotel on Saturday, but I have a little bit extra money to be able to. Well, it's kind of hard because I have to choose between staying here a little longer and not having that much food to eat. Because if I stay like another week, which will be like Halloween or something, I would about Halloween day that I would get out. Um, then I would be struggling for the money of food to eat. But then if I leave on the 24th, and then I'm will be back on the streets, and I would be back on the streets, but then I can eat good, eat decent, but still living on the streets, but no place to take a shower. And still, I mean, I put out an ad on Craigslist for a place to live. Nobody decent wanted to take me in at $400 or $500 a month. And I just had some weird ass people. Like one person said that somebody was falsely impersonating them, and that wasn't them who put up the ad using their number or something. Then another guy straight ignored me, ignored the shit out of me, and a few other people just ignored me and never responded back. And then I had a few people who harassed me, and it's like it seemed like some perverted guys. They're expecting a pretty ass woman to take in for sexual favors. And when I was in New Orleans, and I put out an ad for Craigslist for a room for rent, and they had this guy. He was very vicious and abusive and brutal, and acting like he wanted me to be his sex slave. And so when I told him no, he got even more vicious and brutal, and I had to block his number. And so, you know, some creepy, perverted, scary weirdos on Craigslist. And maybe Janet was probably sent as a perp, you know, to let me stay with her. And she made it like she needed help with her 8-year-old son. And that boy was a perp, a narcissistic perp at 8 years old, abusive and disrespectful. And Janet did like my biological sister Ramona. Just sat there and let that little boy talk to her like trash, and didn't correct or put him in his place. But then the boy's dad, which was her husband, she lied to people and said that was her ex-husband. That husband, I don't know if she was scared of him, but she was showing me his text messages and how abusive he was and stuff like that. But she said he never really beat on her or anything like that, but he was very, very, I mean, I saw him for myself, his messages. So I'm like, if she's perping me, how is she a doggone victim of narcissistic abuse? If she's a Masonic perp. Janet was associated with I saw she had a certificate with as a police officer. But she wasn't a police officer at that time. I think she said that her husband forced her to quit the police job or something. And sometimes a narcissistic abuser will be extra perfect nice. And then, the moment that they can't get something out of you, that's when they get like vicious and abusive. My feet are vibrating. So, they want me to stop talking and shut up. But I wanted to say, those of you who appreciate me, thank you. It means so much. That maybe there is hope. Because narcissistic abusers, they shut you down and slam you and condemn you. And then tell you you're negative, you're just hopeless. But you manipulate the surroundings and the situation, manipulate for where I'm gonna be just hopeless. And then you have to be the oppressed and then rescue, or torture and then rescue, and then be all nice again, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. No, they need to be avoided at all costs. And then you flip it on me and just manipulate your narrative, your false narrative, and reverse it on me and lie and say that I'm the narcissist. And everybody flocks to y'all and believe y'all, and y'all the devil. That's like the devil pretending to be God and then call Jesus the devil. And everybody believe, oh yeah. So the devil knows. Somebody told me before I even became a Christian that the devil knows scripture better than Christians. But he'll twist it and manipulate it and use it. Narcissistic abusers do the same thing. Narcissistic abusers shouldn't waste their freaking time. But I know there's an agenda with them being wolves in sheep's clothing. And they will make you twofold of a child, more of a child of hell than themselves. You're not winning souls to Jesus Christ. You're turning people away from Jesus. I think it's Proverbs 11 and 30. I could be, wait, is it 11 and 30? I don't remember, but somewhere in the book of Proverbs says that he that winneth souls are wise. I mean, he that winneth souls is wise. So I at least try with my homemade gospel tracks. And it's like all people do is throw them down on the ground. Like my money was wasted on, trying to pass out the gospel tracks to people. They just throw them down on the ground and don't care. But I hate when people falsely accuse me of being manipulative and money hungry and spoiled and narcissistic when it's them. Because, I'm trying to do the right thing. If I've done my research and realized that the money system is fake, but you got to use it in order to survive. That's why I call it the psych world, because everything in this world is fake. But I had to spend that fake money at Denny's earlier in order to have some nourishment, food. So in order to have just some food to eat, It sucks. What happened to the real gold and silver? Yeah, we know that. The real silver and gold is being hoarded by the elites, while there's mass starvation in the works. They said that our food system is going to crumble. It's already going to crumble. And what's going to be the agenda is, they conditioning us, which I didn't know, so I'm glad I quit eating McDonald's and stuff. They had us without realizing that we're cannibalizing people. I still can't live with myself with that. Just people just say it's junk food, but they don't. They didn't really explain why a hamburger is junk food. Even my aunt, my dad's sister, me and her had a conversation before she got hateful and turned against me. My Aunt Carolyn, she joined the fake Jehovah's Witnesses cult, sadly. I thought I was gonna have her, um, somebody in the family who would have been mentally normal and level-headed, but she even turned against me. But she even told me, like, food is killing people. And she, welcomed me as a niece, because my biological sister Ramona hid this lady from us for so long. And she wants to dominate the family, and like delusionally believes she's the queen of the family, glorifies herself as queen of the family. In 2017, me and her boyfriend, Ramona's boyfriend Elliot, but we like, why you wait till 8, 9 o'clock at night before bedtime to put on makeup and lipstick? You about to go to bed soon. You wait till before bedtime to start putting on makeup and lipstick, and you ain't. And the first thing Ramona said, why can't I glorify myself? Why can't I glorify myself? Like, bingo. So, the whole family is weird. I know I'm weird too, but I'm harmless. I'm different, but I'm harmless. I have a strange mind, but I'm harmless. I ain't mentally wrapped too tight. I'm crazy and weird, but I'm homeless. I mean, I'm harmless and homeless too, but I'm harmless. So if I hit somebody, it doesn't hurt. I had 2 strokes when I was 5, so I can't be as strong and powerful punching somebody, or I can't move fast and stuff like that. If everybody's quicker than me. So if I had 2 strokes when I was 5, and I'm like, well, wow. I remember that day when I had 2 strokes when I was 5. The foster mom described it as my left side of my body was shriveled up. I remember, not fluently, but I remember the strokes. And the records say, my medical record says she performed a seizure-like behavior. Like as if I intentionally behaved bad, acted bad or something. They use that word behavior. Performed a seizure-like behavior is what they put in the records. Like, wow, you make up lies on a 5-year-old child. Like, oh, you're trying to make a 5-year-old child, kindergartner, look bad. Maybe I was targeted for, in early childhood. But they try to make, like, I was a psychopathic child. And I don't remember this, but they put in records that I used to try to gouge other kids' eyeballs out in kindergarten. And they made it like as if I was the smartest person in the kindergarten class. But they said I was the smartest person in the kindergarten class. But was the worst behaved. They said I was so damn smart in kindergarten, like really smart as hell. But I don't have any memory of trying to poke kids' eyeballs out. But I do remember when I bit the white boy Anthony, and they put me in special ed. But some other stuff I know never happened. I can't think off my head. But it's like, wow, you make up lies on a 5-year-old kindergartner. And so, again, they didn't question if I was acting the way I was acting. They just put me in special ed and stuff, and they didn't question why is she so bad like this. She's going around, assaulting other kids all the time. What's going on in that foster home? Like, nobody questioned what's going on in that foster home like that. But I'll tell you what, I was like not two, but like 3 and 4 years old. Some supernatural occult stuff happened when I was little, and my twin sister too. One time, I think it was last year or a few years ago, she's like, Candy, remember when we used to float in the air? I know I'm not a witch and I don't do witchcraft. The foster mom was involved in an occult. Al used to go to church. I remember Al used to go to church, and he took us to church. A few times when we were little, I remember he took us to church. And the foster mom was part of that fake cult Bible class. But some supernatural weird stuff happened. I don't even know if I remember being very little. More than once, I woke up with bloody noses at 4 years old and stuff, or bruises on me, or like I think I remember waking up with bruises or scratches or bloody nose, having constant nightmares all the time. Me and my twin sister used to levitate in the air when we were little babies. I remember that. And I used to have those nightmares when you fall asleep and where you have a nightmare of falling. And I thought I fell through the bed or something like that. And then I would wake up like scared and everything. And, I was traumatized as a little child with nightmares, scared of we both were scared of the dark. And I don't even know if it was a voodoo doll or something, but this shit is real. This is real. When I was very little, I had the Fat Albert doll in the 80s. And my twin sister had the Bill Cosby doll. I was 4 years old or something. And I had a certain kind of fear and hatred of that Bill Cosby doll. And I was 4 years old, and I thought that if I cut the doll, I didn't know how to destroy the doll, but if I cut that doll's hair off, maybe it would stop tormenting me. But I was scared of that doll. I was really scared of that doll. And they had evil cats in the house, like the evil cat named Tom. And then they said the cat Tom died. And then there was another cat named Tom that looked just like the cat. And the cat Tom was so evil. Both Tom cats, so maybe they were playing games. Maybe the so-called Tom never died. Because how the hell they have another cat just like it? His name is Tom too. Maybe they confused us when we were little. So we would wake up we would wear flip-flops, and back then they used to call it slippers. They didn't call it flip-flops. And I would wake up in the morning with bloody scratches on my legs. I thought it could have been from Tom, the cat. And I remember the foster grandma had a cat named Calico. For the many years, I thought her name was Nicole. And where was that? From when I was super little, there's still that scar on my arm right here. And this other scar right here, I think I remember during the daycare, the nursery days, this other scar right here on my arm from when I was very little. Seems kind of like it's somewhat clearing up, but I still can see it. Where Calico has scratched me. And What else happened when we were little? I can't think right now. But me describing my early childhood, I don't remember any, even though the foster dad Al used to watch porn in front of us, but I don't have any memory of being molested or as a young toddler or anything. I don't remember being personally, touched or sodomized or whatever like that. Lisa Ruby and lady try to psych my head up and have me all anxious and stuff with that fake Christian deliverance. And she is the reason why I don't fast anymore. Why I don't fast and pray. Because she manipulated and tormented and tortured and abused me so bad. When she starved me, it's like she forced starved me and manipulated me with the food. All in the so-called name of fasting. And she would psychologically and mentally torture and torment me on purpose. And then when I get mad, she will say that's demons inside of me getting mad. But then she will blame me as a person and give me the silent treatment. I'm like, well, why am I still here? And why are you just being abusive? And this is supposed to be deliverance. And then she said, I still need deliverance. It's like she wanted me to tell my whole life story to her, and she used that against me and exploited me so bad. I'm scared to fast and pray because of what she did to me about 4 and 5 years ago, because she did it to me twice. And I know I need to ask God to help me heal in that area. Well, a lot of areas, but in that area with the fasting and prayer. Well, why you get mad at me and not the so-called demons that you claim? And then she said that everybody has demons, and she said that she's full of demons too. I'm like, well, and that she still needs to be delivered. I'm like, well, if you're full of demons and need to be delivered, how are you going to deliver me? And she said that that her and her husband who's supposedly a former Satanist, she claims that former Satanist husband, who's supposedly a Christian but don't act it. I remember shortly before I left. Well, she didn't kick me out, but she was so mean that I voluntarily left. And that was the highest I ever spent. I think it was like a 78 or 86, 80, 70 or 80. I think it was like $76 cab ride. And then the cab driver was narcissistic and mean as fuck. The ride was far, but her attitude made me feel like, bitch, you don't deserve my $76 or whatever. So when I try to tell people what happened, my story, nobody wants to hear it. And I left Greenville, South Carolina, and never want to set foot ever in Greenville again. But I do miss that little natural market or whatever. I forgot the name of it right about now, but I miss that little natural market where you can get the raw milk and stuff like that, and the natural butter and turkey eggs, quail eggs, and just exotic, just different stuff. So I'm gonna miss that little market. I'm gonna miss Falls Park, and I'm gonna miss Ingalls, and that's about it that I miss. Oh, well, it's not exactly in Greenville, but that spring I was talking about earlier in the video, I'm going to miss that too. I only got to experience it one time. And then they had that other park, that lake. They said that was Lake Placid or something like that too. That lake. when I swam in that lake, I think I remember I had an abusive cab driver experience. And I would try to buy a bike, and it was a kiddie bike. It just didn't work. But somebody gave me a ride to the park. And when I swam in that lake, I wish I could re-experience that again. Swimming in a lake. It was beautiful and fun. We got to swim in a lake, but I had dealt with people treating me mean for no reason. That made me feel sour. But when I swam in that lake, it's like it was fun and enjoyable. And then my whole entire body was purified. And even my feet came from rough and raw. And then after swimming in that lake, it's like my feet were smooth for days. And I rode the paddle boats. And, I be trying to have good experiences, but the perps always ruin it. And then be like, oh, here she go again. You're the one who manufactured that. No, here she goes again, being negative. I try to have a positive dinner after having a rough week so far. Try to have a good dinner, but y'all have a problem with that too. So yeah, my steak dinner was a nice dinner, but then the take-home food was perped. So yeah, that messy Madison, forget targeted. But if I go, you come to think of it, it looked like as if she's mocking targeted individuals or pretending that she's targeted and just mocking. And then it's like that's what I mean. She started to be like, you're lucky they're not poisoning your food. I'm like, what? I know they do that to targeted individuals. Like as if cheating me out of my food. I mean, like as if, but to be cheated every time. And then they say, oh, because they know that they can get a reaction out of you. But it's like I'm supposed to stay a silent slave and just tolerate and accept the half cup of juice without complaining. I don't have a right to complain. But if you are normal and you have rude customer service and you're not targeted, you get free food. Compensated for free food. I'm not expecting free food. I prefer to honestly pay and just get proper customer service. That's all I'm asking. But yeah, narcissistic abusers falsely accuse me of they reverse it and flip it on me like as if I'm spoiled and narcissistic and just want everything free and get mad that when somebody doesn't give me freebies. So that's the smear campaign that the fake TI perps and the gang stalkers have falsely made about me. That I mean, you can't be truly targeted and have the same opinions, the same false opinions about me as the actual gang stalkers. You can't do that. And if you are being targeted and you feel like I'm being greedy or entitled for asking for my proper rights, that's all I'm asking. And then the fake TI perps be like, you have no rights in this program. Don't you get that? Don't you understand? So I'm supposed to just walk around and just tolerate the torture and abuse just every day and just stay quiet. Jesus himself even fought back against against abuse done to him. But he knew it was, God, it was God the Father's, it was in God the Father's plan for Jesus to die on the cross. But Jesus fought against evil and called people out. Jesus didn't stay silent. He fought corruption, and so it's like, I mean, some people, say that, turn the other cheek. What the Bible does talk about turn the other cheek and bless those who curse you and pray for those who despitefully use you. And I need to work on that too. But a good innocent person, I'm the one being manipulated and scammed. And I mean, that I deserve to pay the same amount of food. I mean, pay the same price as everybody else, but get less food. How is that fair? How is that fair? Because anybody, y'all would protest too. Especially, well, I can't afford that, but people complain about poor customer service all the time. Why don't I have that right? If you paying to get your money's worth, that's all I'm asking. That's not being greedy and entitled. But yeah, you just don't want me to have shit. That's why I say, and some other targeted individuals too say that the gang stalkers are jealous. Y'all jealous. Narcissistic abusers are y'all jealous. I'm not the narcissist. I'm not entitled or spoiled, and I don't scam or try to get over on people. Me paying $400 a month, renting a room. See, I couldn't trust with my targeting. I would have to keep my storage unit because I would hate to get rid of my storage unit and then rent a room. And then look what happened with Janet. The next month I had to leave. So, and living with roommates, it's almost always guaranteed an argument. And then I grieve for other people who have that roommate from hell, especially if they co-sign on a lease together. Excuse me. The narcissistic gang stalking perp roommate from hell, or the next door neighbor from hell. Because I've been hearing about symptoms of targeted individuals for quite a few years, but didn't know it was targeted individuals and gang stalking. We are not paranoid schizophrenics. We are not crazy at all. The foster mom drilled it in my head that I'm crazy so much that I believed it. But the foster mom smear campaign and lied to everybody saying I'm schizophrenic. And I started to believe I was schizophrenic because she said that. But then I had to find out that Dr. Chakraborty said, no, you're not schizophrenic. But she put on official records that I have obsessive compulsive disorder, Tourette syndrome, and generalized anxiety disorder. And then when I turned 18, those other psychiatrists had me diagnosed as major depressive disorder. But the foster mom lied to the Voc rehab counselor, Miss Jane Weichert, and said, let's see, like she would cover her one eye and be like, let's see, schizophrenia, I'm schizophrenic. Start your shit, you hear, Candy? Start your shit, you hear? In front of the Voc rehab counselor's face. And the Voc rehab counselor didn't say anything. So, that Voc rehab counselor used to love me. But then she waited till after I turned 18 to get hateful and turn against me. Like, they still had a lot of people who hated me. But then other people, after I turned 18, they, like, just full-fledged started to hate me so much. Like, they were waiting for the opportunity to hate me because I became an adult and turned 18. And they want me to stop talking. It hurts right here. They have me hurting right here. But the foster mom told that lady, Miss Jackie, on the phone. Excuse me. I was in my junior year in high school. I overheard that conversation where she told Miss Jackie that she was gonna have me she was gonna tell the foster mom said she was gonna tell the doctors to put me on a medicine that's gonna destroy my liver and kill me. And she even threatened to kill me. I think I was 15 years old, and she beat me up. And she rough-handled and jerked and pulled me by my hair, and rough-handled and jerked me around. And said, "I'm gonna kill you, little girl." But I'm the crazy one. But she's the one who needed anger management. Her and her son, Joe. I talked about this back in April. When my twin sister told me about how Joe deliberately slapped that foster boy, Ernest. I wasn't there, but she told me about how Joe slapped the foster boy, Ernest, into the fire hydrant. And then the boy, in the front of his head, the boy, Ernest, it's like blood was coming out of... It's a miracle that Ernest was still alive. Blood was erupting out of the top of Ernest's head. Blood was gushing out of his head and like pouring, like puddles, like pouring out of his head. Blood was pouring out of his head like a volcano erupting full of lava. And Ernest was still alive. All that blood that came. And they said Ernest had autism. Joe lied and said that Ernest was acting bad and crazy and deliberately on purpose ran into the fire hydrant himself. But I guess my twin sister must have been that traumatized and scared. But I'm the one who has no business around children. I think I don't remember who it was, but I think Joe did Joni something very cruel when she was little. And I'm glad I woke up and got a certain age and I didn't want to, hurt people anymore. But Joe beating on his pregnant wives, punching his 5-month pregnant wife in the stomach. And stuff like that. I mean, beating on women and children. The foster brother-in-law, Brian Keith Williams, beating on children. Beating on his own daughter, Chastity. And Chastity was perping me too. But I witnessed he beat Chastity so bad. He beat Chastity so bad that day. But it's kind of hard for me to feel sorry for her that she was perping me too and abusing me too. She was stealing from me. Shelly was stealing from me. Shelly was stealing from me and then blaming it on the foster boy Nick. She was in 2006 after Hurricane Katrina. Shelly would steal from me and blame it on the foster boy Nick, or steal from me and then blame it on Chastity. Snoop through my phone and then blame it on Chastity. Steal my money and then blame it on Chastity. And Chastity would used to use and take advantage. The nasty wench whore Chastity used to use it. Chastity Sinclair Williams used to use and take advantage of me too. An underage 15-year-old child. Chastity tried to set me up too. but she was taught that. But they used to abuse chastity so bad that Brian would brag about how he would beat. I mean, what man sits around all day? You 6 feet 7 inches tall, and you arrogantly brag and boast about beating on children all day. That's all you brag and talk about is beating children all day. Brag about how if a child in his family stole, then they would put their hand on fire. I mean, the so-called punishments that he tried to scare us with. Brian used to just talk a lot of shit and then threaten me, but he never put his hands on me. But I was 17 going on 18, and I think once in 2006, twice, he came very close to putting his hands on me, but he never put his hands on me. But he just used to talk a lot of shit. But I saw in my own eyes, I was 22 years old, it was 2006, and Brian choked the foster boy Richard. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that to your own biological children. They're the kings and queens on the earth. Alex was your little princess, your perfect little princess. Ryan was the perfect little king that you just freaking... I never saw like Brian, like when Ryan, his son Ryan was 2 and 3 years old. They used to say Ryan was bad. Were they locking Ryan up in small janitorial closets and beating on him and forcing him to sleep outside and forcing him to eat cereal out of the garbage can when I was 3 years old? Forced me to stand on my knees for 6 hours and eat soggy Raisin Bran out of the garbage can. And then when I repeat that same thing to children, then you call me out on being abusive. I'm like, well, it wasn't abuse when you did it to me when I was younger. Oh, we ain't never did such and such. So it's crazy that I had to learn right from wrong at a later age. Because what I thought was normal, you know, like, and I was embarrassed because I was in my late 20s, even though people say I was smart. But it's like certain things I didn't know any better about because I was taught certain things one way. You know, I didn't growing up, I didn't know it was considered abuse. That I thought it was punishment that I deserved. To lock a child up in the small janitorial closet, or you don't remember what you did wrong or weren't told what you did wrong. But I remember I was in first grade, and several times a male white teacher, Mr. Randall, forced me. You know how you had the big thick teacher's edition of school textbooks? Mr. Randall, I was in first grade, and he used to force me. I don't know how many pounds there were, but he used to force me to stand in a corner for 2 hours and hold a whole bunch of textbooks in my hand as punishment. I don't even remember the stuff I did. Or, you know, being forced to stand on your knees. Let's not talk about the so-called punishments in Taekwondo, karate, Taekwondo, martial arts. When being 7 years old, and if they have your forms that you do or whatever, and if you accidentally make one mistake, a 7-year-old child is forced to do 200 knuckle push-ups, like push-ups on your knuckles rather than your hands being flat like this. I'm 7 years old, forced to do 200 knuckle push-ups, and if I stop or get out of breath, if it's too torturous or if it hurt, they stand there and make me. They don't care how bad it hurts. That you sit there and make me or if I stop to rest, or if I kind of make a little mistake, or if I try to adjust myself or something, they make me start all over again from one. And I'm sitting there for hours doing 200 knuckle push-ups at 7 years old. And the foster mom was okay with that. With the karate, the taekwondo instructors, the taekwondo instructors, they were abusive too. And I didn't realize it was abuse. And then I was 21 years old, and it was in 2005 before Hurricane Katrina. And I didn't know that Miss Diana Dunlap was perping me. And I thought it was just her singling me out because I was a former foster care. I was formerly in foster care. Or, I didn't know that she acted the way she acted because of gang stalking. That I was 22, 21, almost 22. And she set me up to spar with children. I was the only adult that she had to spar. She had me spar with children. And when I do my forms in Taekwondo, I was never right. I could never do it right. It was always something wrong that I did, or I didn't look right doing it. I'm never perfect enough, never good enough. Punished from tournaments because I wasn't good enough. But I'm glad to know that Taekwondo was part of the occult New Age. Glad I'm not doing that anymore. I repented of that sin. Will never go back to martial arts. Yoga, yes. Call me crazy, all y'all want. I only did yoga once in my life. In New York, they forced us to do yoga one time when I was in New York. But other than that, I never really did yoga other than that time. Forced me to do yoga. But yoga, martial arts, excuse me, jump on me and attack me all you want. That's what I research. It's New Age. And people say that that demons enter your mind, because they say you're not supposed to empty your mind. You're not supposed to blank out your mind and meditate, because that's meditation. That meditation is New Age, occult, witchcraft, falls into that category. And then like progressive muscle relaxation and Qigong, that's occult New Age also that I researched, I read. And the counselor had me, the mental health counselor encouraged me. And sometimes this New Age stuff, they force you to do it in a mental hospital. The Qigong and progressive muscle relaxation, they force you to do it. Like you have to do it, or else you're not going to get let out of, or else, they're making like you're not improving your mental health. Forced meditation, forced yoga, whatever, or Qigong. They say you allow demons into your mind to torment you when you do that. Well, I didn't know, but I'm glad I researched and found out the truth. So I will never, as long as I live, I will never do martial arts anymore. Never do progressive muscle relaxation, and they even say that what's it called, emotional freedom technique. They say that's a cult, and the tapping or whatever. They say that's New Age too. And certain like raw veganism and cooked vegan, or vegetarian and veganism, I had to find. I'm so sorry. I thought I was led on a path of truth, but it was kind of find out it's a New Age. So I stopped. I went back to eating meat. The vegetarian and veganism made me eat more. And I was trying to get my twin sister into it, and I didn't know. Because a lot of people who say that they were speaking the truth and stuff, and speaking against the Illuminati. Then I had to come across this documentary that said the new age infiltration of the truth movement. And so people attack me and get mad at me whenever I speak against the new age movement. And the fake IDMR cult was new age as well. New age occult, esotericism, Freemasonry, Luciferian, all together, and mocking Jesus, mocking Christians, hating Jesus, hating Christians, wanting you to deny Jesus before men, to set us all up to go to hell. So, I mean, it helps me feel better to help others with me sharing the information that I read, that I was taught, that I learned. So I want to be able to share it with others. And people want to stop me. But now I know I'm not 100% there, but I know I'm on the right path. I'm on the narrow path. I'm not going the broad way anymore like I used to when I was lost. So I'm that one lost sheep that's going to be reconciled to Jesus. And when Jay-Z talk about what is it? 99. I got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one, or something like that. I heard that was mockery and making fun of Jesus and the 99 sheep and the one that gets reconciled, the lost sheep that gets reconciled to Jesus. He mocks and makes fun of that. And y'all worship Jay-Z, Gay-Z, and whore Beyonce and their ugly kids. Jay-Z and Beyonce have mocked Jesus, mocked Christians, and mocked church so many times. And say that, I don't remember exactly what he said, but Jay-Z, he said, Jesus can't save you and life don't start till the church end. And he bragging boasts about how he rape, kill, and pillage your children. And this is who people look up to and idolize. We didn't know. I didn't know that, Aaliyah was glorifying the dark side. But they said she was under mind control when she was doing that with the Queen of the Damned, and she was all smiling and everything like that. You know. But she was deceived. And, people would talk about how smart she was and everything like that. But even smart people can be... Because the Bible even says that even the very elect will be deceived in these last days. And we are all under strong delusion. I'm pretty sure there's still more works of darkness that I still don't know what's going on. That I still need to learn. And I don't want to be a terror or a wolf. And I heard that when people talk about sheeple, I heard that's a way, New Agers' way of mocking Christians. New Age fake truthers mocking Christians when they say sheeple. It's like perverted because they try to make like the Christians are brainwashed. But now I had to find out such thing as true Christianity. And it's the false Christians who are brainwashed. With false teachers like Joel Osteen and Creflo Dollar, Joyce Meyer, false gospel artists, and stuff like that, who do rituals and take all your money. Go at, like, you want to call me money hungry? Go after Joel Osteen. Go attack him. Go attack these false pastors who use Jesus' name to scam people. I don't even have enough money. I'm not even driving around in any car at all. But I'm not even driving around in flashy cars. Driving around in no car. Fact about Candy Grandpre. I never got to drive a luxury car before, ever. I never even got to drive a Lexus or a Cadillac or none of that. Never. Never got to drive a luxury car. The closest to any luxury, and I don't even think that was in the classification of luxury, but a PT Cruiser convertible that I rented. And I drove an Expedition in 2018. That was about it. But other than that, I'll never get to. It would be a freaking miracle if I was. And one time, like the day before I was supposed to go and test drive a Tesla in Los Angeles, I was supposed to get to go and test drive a Tesla. But what happened was all my stuff got stolen the day before. All my belongings, everything. And I was crushed enough that, you know, I didn't attempt it. But I better not say it because they already. But I'm not thinking that way right now. But I'm just telling a story from the past. That, you know, when all my stuff got stolen in 2018, all my valuables, when I simply tried to go pee, and I didn't realize that I was being gang stalked. But people blame me because they hit me with the energy weapons to make me, when I wake up, I gotta go run. It's like they wake me up and I gotta go run. But I've heard horror stories about people at the beach in Santa Monica, the homeless people who sleep at the beach. I was warned to be careful because, like, people and you see why I don't want to go and live on the West Coast? People are more cold-hearted and soulless than Los Angeles. That they will kill you and then keep going, like, without a care in the world. Like, killing somebody else don't faze them. Or destroying somebody else don't faze them. And they really think they're doing the right thing. So, they're still hurting me right here. And then I feel pressure right here. So, I heard about how, I don't know what machine that is that you drive on the sand to try to make everything all neat, and also picks up the trash on the sand at the beach. So I heard that people get ran over by those and killed, the homeless people. And also I've heard stories about homeless people getting beat with bats. Something like you get beat to death with a metal steel bat. I think it was a homeless woman in Van Nuys, California, got set on fire. I've heard, you innocent homeless sleeping on the streets, minding your business, and somebody just lights you up and sets you on fire for fucking nothing. You ain't not bothering anybody. But I'm homeless myself, but I still had this hotel room from Hurricane Delta, where we thought was going to hit. And thank y'all for the help. So, and then I hear about the white vans making homeless people disappear. And they already have FEMA camps for the homeless. Homeless people being killed off. Extermination. Targeted individuals. That's why I wish the guy from I don't know, is he freaking scared? He said that he's been stalked by a guy for 8 years. That's creepy. You a man being stalked by another man for 8 years. So if you know what it's like to be stalked, Mark Horvath from Invisible People, I was trying to get him. I understand that he recently lost his mother, but he's been making his trips again, and he thought he was about to be homeless again soon. But he's been making his trips again with going to Philadelphia and New York, and I wish that all targeted, well, not all, but as many as possible of targeted individuals who are homeless TIs, because they make us homeless. Because imagine you have this successful business job or a government job, smart as hell, successful, without selling your soul, just successful. And you're a whistleblower, even by accident, like you didn't mean to get somebody in trouble, but you said something true about somebody. Then next thing you know, you get workplace mobbed and gang stalked and bullied off the job, or they gas you at work or gas you at home. The landlord raised your rent if you're renting an apartment or something. The landlord raised your rent and raise your rent on purpose. Raise your rent high enough that you can't afford it, so you're forced to let go of your lease, or they sexual or neighbors lie on you and you get evicted, and you get evicted and because neighbors lie on you, and wow, neighbors lie on you and you get evicted, and then you end up homeless with nothing when you used to be rich or balling or having like good money, but now you're destitute. And all you people who think you're invincible, like it can't happen to you, it can happen to anybody overnight. You might be a freaking gang stalking perp and might unintentionally piss off the handlers or didn't realize you made them mad, and now you become targeted worse than me and they kill you off faster. You don't think about that? If you sold your soul and you betrayed your chief master, Satan, your chief master, Satan, Satan stabs everybody in the back. He's never loyal to anybody. He's a fake traitor. And Satan will he comes, masquerades as an angel of light and stuff. So, and then his demons will masquerade as small little baby angels of light, but it's all deception. And I had to hear about, I learned that people who, like a lot of professed targeted individuals, not all, but some, not all, but some, in my personal experience, dealing with certain targeted individuals who claim to have V2K, end up being fake TI perps and just mocking and making fun of the real targeted individuals with V2K. And some fake TI perps I see making like as if they're heavily targeted in a way that make you feel really sorry for them, because nobody really feels sorry for us. But wow, they can fake it so good, like camouflage, and you can't tell the real from the fake, like the wheat from the tares. I would rather be the wheat and the sheep, and I don't want to be a goat or a wolf, or I don't want to be a tare. So the fake TI perps, some of them make like they were heavenly MK Ultra, and got it all, or got it the worst, and then say that they were victim of SRA, which is satanic ritual abuse. And then they offered me a place to come live, and then, or they want to talk to me on the phone and start off nice and normal. And as the time progresses, or as the days progress, they become increasingly meaner and more abusive and scarier. Like their mask really falls off and they show their true colors. And I end up being shocked and traumatized. And so they say that targeted individuals are brainwashed or manipulated into not trusting each other. Like, so, it's so lonely and cold out here. And they have some people who truly are targeted, but just fucking mean. Mean and abusive as hell. So, it's getting late. It's 10:43 right now. And I'm still hurting right here. And, since people suggested it, in every video, I put, my homeless targeted individual and my financial donation information. Other people do it too. So don't just attack me and falsely accuse me of being a beggar and a user, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get a permanent place or a permanent way to live rather than just being like unstable. And then one person tried to tell me, you keep on moving around like that, and they're gonna have a reason to think you're a wanted fugitive or something like that. She said, oh, you keep moving around like that, like it's my fault. They manipulate us to moving around, and even if we stay in our homes, people are being gassed in their homes, their food being poisoned, their house being tampered with, their car being tampered with. They forced us to spend extra money. I did that video talking about narcissistic abusers and gang stalking perps being manipulated into spending extra money or wasting extra unnecessary money. So in any way to support, it doesn't have to be money, but just being a listening ear to my videos. And I'm hoping I'm helping somebody too with my information. Because if I had money, look, years ago, like 2006 or 2007, I was disgusted how I was abused and treated in that mental health shelter in New York. And afterwards, I had my own place. I think I had my own place. I was already living in Denton, Texas in 2007. And on Yahoo Answers, I said on Yahoo Answers that if I had a lot of money and was rich, I would, give everybody their own house, their own place to live. Or if there was a shelter, I would give people better food and healthier food, and they wouldn't have to have curfew and stuff like that. And then I got attacked so badly and called a bigoted liberal for saying that if I was rich, I would, help the homeless. They have some people who have like this programs where they have tiny homes for the homeless or something. But yeah, being targeted and hypersensitive like I am, I can't do apartments. And that cottage was so perfect for me. And if I would have been in that cottage, I wouldn't have to panhandle or beg or ask for money. That place was under $500 a month. And those gang stalkers talked that man away from me. I remember trying to get a medical transportation driving job in New Orleans. and I think it was called Reliant Transportation, and they didn't hire me. I didn't realize it was a gang stalking setup. Twice I tried to get a job at the airport, and they wanted you with 3 years of dishwashing experience for the job at the airport. I didn't know until I got there. And then a black lady, she laughed in my face for not having experience. Um, so in 2017, 2018, I busted my ass job hunting and had to go through temp service to get my foot in the door. And I heard that temp service gang stalk you worse than a permanent job. And they try to block you from working and stuff, you know. So before I go, I want to say, no matter what support it is, any love or support, and I give it back to y'all. Any love or support. I mean, if I had more money, I would want to be helping other people. People would tell me I have a big, generous, and giving heart. And people are like, why are you giving, like narcissistic abusers be like, oh, why are you giving me this? If I give them a gift or something, like, why are you giving me this? Or they get mad and say, you give too much, or you need to stop giving so many gifts. You give too much. So, like, made me feel like I did something wrong by giving something or being nice or something, doing a good deed. Or if I say something positive, they turn their nose and get an attitude and roll their eyes. But then they're always telling me, you're negative, you're negative, you're negative. I think they use that word negative for programming. The repeated words, you know, programming triggers to let me know that you are to be eliminated. But guess what? You black gang stalkers, because we're victims of eugenics. You know, black, white, or whatever. But I'm saying for my black people, think about what you're doing. Why would you support something Nazi and racist like psychiatry? Why would you support a eugenics program like gang stalking and human extermination? But I want to say thank you. It's a shocking surprise that any one person cares about me. I cannot believe. I mean, it means so much to me for anybody to care about me. And I know I've been venting a lot, not lecture, but just talking. For you to be supportive enough. I know people have busy schedules and stuff. But even if it's 2 or 3 people to be supportive enough and love me enough and care about me enough to go out of their way and take the time out and to listen to what been lately, because I'm on my laptop, my 2 and 3 hour videos. I mean, it means just so much to me. Just thank y'all for any supporters. And I'm glad, you know, they have that phrase, real recognize real. And I'm glad that people say, thank you, Candy, for speaking the truth. Because they have some of these paid liars that have like 65,000 subscribers. And last I checked, I have like 391. But, you know, I have to accept that very few people want to listen to what's true anyway. People are comfortable in a lie. But these rich gossip bloggers that gossip about celebrities, well, how come y'all don't get mad at them for putting their Cash App and PayPal and Patreon, Venmo, or whatever? I'm just trying to find a permanent solution to get back on my feet that's not in cold weather. And so everything has to be just controlled. And I don't like it. if animals have more freedom than humans. It's how it is. That animals have more freedom and more love from humans than humans. Nobody's gonna jail a cat. Maybe put them in a cage for protection and for transportation, but you ain't gonna jail a cat unless you're one of the cool gang stalkers. And if I have a pet cat and you poison it or you skin it alive or something like that. Because people have more compassion for animals being tortured than people being tortured. That's crazy because we're all the same species. And then they have their long list of justifications for why it's the right thing to do to love and care about more about animals than other humans. Animals should be loved and cared about too. But the fact that we put animals above ourselves, humanity as a whole, put animals above ourselves, and tree huggers like nature worshippers and spiritism, animism and spiritism and nature worship, Mother Nature, and you know. But I know we should care the most about our Father God in heaven. Excuse me. More than ourselves, and we should consider other humans before ourselves. But instead, I'm appalled and shocked at how many people think it's the right thing to do to just torture, torment, and harass another human being all day and all night long. We already have our hell and not getting any rest. And we didn't deserve this. You want to exterminate Candy Grandpre. And you're black too. You're black. And I'm saying, we blacks got it the worst. That's why, white people who sell their soul to the devil, they're not called a sellout. But black people, when you sell your soul to the devil, you get called a sellout, a traitor, a Judas. But, black people need to read up on more about the truth about slavery, psychiatry. Well, everybody does, but black people were the main target. But everybody needs to research, about all this and eugenics and stuff, because there's other races too. But it's mainly our black people. Bill Gates, he gonna get us all, but Bill Gates sending vaccines to African countries. And those African people, children, don't deserve this. That you pretend to come there to help and you just destroy African children and have them starving. And it's like all this time and nobody wants to help them. But in Europe, people are living like queens and kings, have nothing to worry about. But then some people try to say, well, that's what they get. They get what they deserve from all that voodoo and witchcraft or whatever. And so God cursed them. Well, where's the white people's punishment? Or any other race of person? Where's their punishment? So I don't know. We all humans need to research, because Bill Gates wants to kill off over 90% of the population. But I read in my research about the Nuremberg trials and psychiatry being Nazi and racist, and that mental illness started off from runaway slave, drapetomania, a mental illness for runaway black slave who's a field Negro. So us people, targeted individuals, we're a field Negro. And then the people who sold their soul to the gang stalkers are house Negro. No matter what color or race, y'all gang stalkers are house Negro. And field Negroes target individuals. No matter what skin color or race, because Bill Gates wants over 90% of world population gone. And nobody's fighting against it. Nobody's really doing anything. I feel helpless. I know I couldn't fight that on my own. But there are people who agree, oh yes, the world is overpopulated. Who are you to say that? What authority do you have to say that? Because if God himself felt like the world was overpopulated, he would have destroyed the earth again. Maybe, he promised, I think I remember they said that the rainbow was a reminder. After it rains, when you see a rainbow, it's a reminder that God will never flood the earth again. So, I heard that the LGBT community, they pervert the rainbow, and the Luciferians pervert the rainbow to mock God, as a rainbow is their symbol for the LGBT flag, like slapping God's face and trying to mock God. And the LGBT, like I researched and read that said that homosexuality is Luciferian also. And if you're transgender, that's Luciferian. And if represent Baphomet, that's a he, she. You know, Baphomet. Baphomet, the devil or whatever, is an androgynous tranny. So yeah, Satan is considered. He's addressed as a he, but I heard that Satan is a tranny, and that's why they want to make everybody trannies now. Forget just gay and bi, and now all of a sudden everybody's trannies now, and so like I said before, like the stuff I'm talking about hardly gets any recognition, but somebody can talk about their willful choice of female to male transition, and that gets over 10 million views. Plus, they can ask for donations, and they're not called greedy, and they're living comfortable, but I'm struggling. And I think that $100,000 is too much money for me. I don't need that much, but I need enough to get out of financial debt that I'm in. And I always said that I never wanted to get into debt, and was manipulated and forced into debt. And then, I always felt like, well, since I was in debt, I would like to work on my own and pay off my debt. But I had to pay back what the family took from me, because the mentally slow, crazy biological family bullying me and using me and taking advantage of my student loan money. And the foster mom stole my foster care, the Social Security back pay check and that trust fund check. She stole it. And she stole that money that was supposed to be saved from when I worked. Like the foster mom was taking I was working at Popeyes my senior year in high school, and I was forced to give the foster mom was taking out checks. I was forced to give her all my checks from work. Not allowed to have my money for myself. I was 17 years old. It's fucked up. And nobody's gonna say that Adrian Felder, who they call Ann, is a criminal. The woman tried to kill me, but I was on Prozac and all those other psych medications. I was an underage child and didn't realize that medicine had that much of an effect on your brain. But the foster mom was not taking psych medication, and she was just plain freaking mean and evil. and just got freaking Foster Parent of the Year awards despite being abusing and trying to kill foster children. And she has strong hatred. She herself had choked some of the foster boys. So if I get a certain age and I choke somebody, I didn't know it was wrong. I mean, I knew it hurt, but if I saw them do it, and then I realized, well, that's wrong. You can't choke people. You can go to jail for that. But then I saw they never went to jail, so I wouldn't choke nobody no more. And I don't want to be on mind altering psych medications anymore. Never ever again. Because those medicines destroy your mind. They don't make you get better. They don't make you think better or function better. It's just make you a more obedient slave. A more willing slave. But you're not willing because it's against your will. Your mind, will, and emotions is gone. It's all manipulated even more. My medication that I need is the Word of God and prayer. And I know I'm going to get to the fasting too. But the Word of God and prayer. So, I mean, I have to, after Saturday, I don't know. I guess I would just rather use that extra $300 something for as many more days as I can. And then in person now, I just have like, how much money I got left? I got in cash. I think I got like $30 in cash. And I'm going to do laundry tomorrow. I've been trying to stretch my days and stretch my clothes and laundry and stuff like that too. So I mean, I still have not found a permanent solution. I might have to leave Pensacola, but I don't know where to go. But I mean, some people say Georgia is pretty bad to stay in. They say Florida is bad too. But I want to stay in the South. But I don't want to go any farther west than Louisiana. I don't want to go to Texas or farther west. It's warm enough, but I don't like the people. And well, the north I don't want to go because it's too cold. It's so cold up north. I can't handle it. It's torture. And I'm hypersensitive to cold temperatures. I mean, last night when I took my shower, and that, like, when you first turn on the water and you turn on the shower, you know how cold water comes out at first? I had to brace myself. It's like a trauma, like, for the cold water to hit onto my body. And then eventually and I have to go through this every night. And then eventually it warms up after a while. But I can't handle being excessively hot either. So, this is a $35 a night hotel if it's $7. I mean 7 nights or more. So I'm not in no 80, 90 or 100 something dollar. I'm not living large. You know, it's one of the cheaper hotels that's decent. But I calculated earlier this year that with the hotel, I calculated that with the hotel, if I were to stay here a whole month, it would be like about $11.50 a month. But my income is only $803, and you're not allowed to use this place for a storage unit or for storage. And I see it look like some people stay here long term. So I couldn't afford to stay here without financial donations. But that $500, it's the way they set it up. That $500 apartment to rent or a trailer or something, I have to make an income, not financial donations, but an income of $1,750 a month for a $500 apartment. And they want first month's, last month's rent, and deposit, all due at the signing of the lease. That's another thing that was holding me back from getting a place. But, my right to survive, I deserve thumbs down. I mean, that you're that cold and heartless that I don't even deserve one night of safety and a roof over my head. And it's hard to accept that narcissistic abusers and gang stalkers don't care about your feelings. And it's like they want you to be hurt. They want you to be hurt. And they make it like you deserve to be hurt. And I'm still trying to practice to accept being abused and hurt. But then I get blamed and told that I put myself in a position and that I allow it and that I'm not a victim. But I didn't realize this was all part of the gang stalking. And I thought it was just me. I didn't know other people go through this. But for any little support that I get, any even emotional support and encouragement, just thank you for everything. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all. I love y'all. Good night. It's 11:09 p.m. right now, so it's gonna be tomorrow morning when I try to upload this video. So, as I said, I'm sorry I took so long and been talking long and talking a lot. But I'm lonesome. I'm a loner. Prefer to be alone anyway. But I'm alone. And I'm just going to try to stay away from trouble. And I'm going to try to not go back and forth arguing with perps and abusive people. Just try to stay to myself and try to stay peaceful and quiet and just try as best as I can to ignore the abusers and not go back and forth with them. And just, try to just rest, because I don't get to get rest on the streets. I don't get to get rest. And it's crazy how, Stars 15K and other perps and fake TI perps lie and say, oh, if you don't fund, Candy wants a comfortable lifestyle, and if you don't spoil her and fund her comfortable lifestyle, then she'll call you a gang stalker. Y'all gaslighting, because there's a lot of people who never gave me any money, but I'm still nice. I still like them and they're nice to me. It's more your attitude. So they just use that to deny that they're gang stalkers. And so, it's a shame and a pity that real targeted individuals don't have discernment and fall for the lies of the fake TI perps and perps. As I said, y'all have seen my journey of attempts at housing and jobs, and I come tell y'all about it. But when I do, you shun and slam me for telling all my business and telling every detail of my life. But, y'all ought to know. The people who lost respect for me when Alex ran me out of Pensacola, they lost respect for me. And it's like, I didn't know I was going to end up in that situation. I thought that, if I could sleep at the park, I didn't know. And it was an emergency situation. And so, even in Mobile, Alabama, I try to keep my meals to a minimum of $5 or $10 per meal. And then at that Quality Inn hotel where you freaking spend 80 something dollars a night at that raggedy ass Quality Inn downtown Mobile, Alabama, and they didn't even have the washers and dryers running. So I couldn't do laundry there for 80 or 90 something dollars a night. But I didn't even know about those rewards either. The Choice Hotels rewards either. So I found out about them and started to get, the one free night or whatever other deals or whatever. So this is cheaper than the Quality Inn hotel or the those other hotels and stuff. I mean, they just have a couple of roaches at night here, but it's cleaner and more decent than the hotels with the housekeepers. How is that? And this is a self-service hotel. So I still feel like I need my rest because I feel like I've been sleep deprived even here and just trying to rest as much as I can. I need a permanent place, but I'm scared of I'm scared of the noise harassment and the other harassment, like as if I were in an apartment or something. And people off their own mind, without me asking, they off their own mind made false promises. I don't even know what made, like that Terry lady from September last month. I don't even know if the gang stalkers threatened her or did something to her. That I didn't hear from her anymore. And so she was trying to help me out, and they cheated and scammed her out of $246 trying to help me. And so, I thought she got mad at me, and I'm like, well, this lady offered to help me, and she offered. I mean, it wasn't my fault. When she looked at the pictures and she thought the hotel looked nice because that was for Labor Day, and she offered, and I ended up back at the Quality Inn. That was before the situation with Brittany and the other perps, but I had Stephanie as the perp, and so she offered to co-sign on a place for me to go. I mean, an apartment. Even that New Age witch on Twitter made that same promise. But she lied to Messy Madison, that calls herself Targeted. She lied to Madison and said that she helped me out, and then I blocked her too, which wasn't true. She said she's targeted, but then she acts like she's a high frequency master or something. She calls herself Serene. I think she calls herself Serene Wellness. And I felt bad that I even took $120 from her, because I don't feel comfortable accepting money from witches. And I don't want to sound ungrateful. Don't think I'm being ungrateful, but I don't feel comfortable accepting money from witches and occultists and evil people. And I'm afraid that God might punish me for accepting money from them. I mean, even if it's help for just for day-to-day living. I'm like, where are all the Christians at? That's not witches, because they have fake hypocristian witches and occultists and New Agers too. So I'm like, where's the church? Even the other Targeted girl that I haven't heard from her, and I'm scared for her, hoping she's okay. She's here in Florida too. I'm hoping she's okay. And she told me she was dying. and her family didn't. I mean, and other people didn't believe her. And she said she looked to Christians for help. And she said they falsely accused her of trying to scam, but I knew she was legit, and I got her back. And I'm scared for her because I'm frightened because I don't know if she's dead or alive. I'm really scared for her. And y'all can pray for her. I don't know if she's still. I'm hoping that she's still alive. And I'm not on Instagram anymore, but I mean, she reached out to me, and I felt bad. I mean, that I couldn't help her like I wanted to. But my biological sister Ramona condemned me for giving $20 to a homeless person who wanted my food. And I was eating my food. I think it was Chinese food. And he wanted my food. And I didn't want to share my germs with him. So I gave him $20. And then Ramona had a jealous look and said, the Lord is, and she said it like an angry, jealous way, like, the Lord is really gonna bless you. Like, because she's mad because that $20 wasn't given to her after she had just scammed me and deceived and lied to me and scammed me out of $375 in 2010. And that was one of the major reasons, but other reasons leading up to that, because over the summer in 2010 I was suicidal like all summer in 2010, and I found out the truth about the Illuminati New World Order, and I didn't know how to handle it in 2010, and I was just shocked about everything, and that was my year of revelations and truth and everything. And I was having a whole bunch of nightmares, and I was feeling suicidal. I was just so depressed. And October 15th, 2010, I nearly succeeded with that suicide attempt. It's like, wow, what my whole family just trying to use and take advantage of my money, my student loan money. And me being on SSI and Social Security, and I had student loan money. And it seemed like they parasitically drained me out of every penny. And Ramona just took that 300, like she threatened me, like frightened me and bullied and threatened me out my money, and lied and said it was for a overdue late light bill. And in front of my face, after the money was taken, she went to Harrah's, forced me to go with her, and went to Harrah's. And in like 2 minutes, gambled up and lost that whole $375. And that was a point in time when Ramona was scamming and taking everybody's money and go gamble it up. Only the people who she sees as slow and easy to take advantage of. But my mentally normal Aunt Carolyn, that's Arthur's sister, the biological dad Arthur's sister, I was shocked that Ramona would take advantage of her too. So Ramona is falsely looked at as this great person and this normal person, who the first person who everybody want to go to her house and party with and kick it with. I don't even use that terminology, but kick it and hang out with her and stuff. And she has a nasty, filthy house full of roaches and bed bugs. And she's lazy, and then she'll lie and say you're lazy and don't want to do anything when you're trying to better yourself, and then she block you on purpose. Doesn't that sound like what gang stalkers do to me? But yeah, she take my money and gamble and use it, and I didn't know how to stand up for myself. But in 2015, I was not on those medications, and I stood up to Ramona, and that was. I mean, she tried to beat me up, and she beat me up and put bruises on me. And, that was when the biological cousin Blake told me I was unwanted and that I shouldn't come back down there no more. So I know I talk too much. Thanks for listening. Because I don't have nobody to really talk to. But I'd be scared to talk to people because people are so mean. But Ramona, she used to take advantage of me. She took money from me, the biological brother Sean, and the biological mom Frances. She took money. She took all our money and then lied and said she was robbed. Ramona would never get robbed. She's invincible. Bad stuff never happens to her. She's one of those con artists, users, and scammers that's invincible, and bad stuff never happens to her. But I'm gonna tell you something she did. When my cousin Blake died, she had first thing she did when he was freshly dead, and she liked to brag about being the first to be there when Blake's dad, my uncle Daryl, had died. She bragged about being the first to eyewitness that he died. She bragged about it, and she bragged about how much money Blake had when he died. And she said, "Well, Blake." Nobody questioned. Well, didn't you probably stole that money? I mean, Blake freshly died, and she took that money for herself, just to gamble it all up and lose it. She's a gambling addict and a user. And so she bragged about that. She said when Blake got robbed and shot and killed, and then the guy didn't even take any money. And the year before, Blake told me, you're unwanted. What make you think things are going to change? Don't come back down here no more. That hurt because I haven't contacted Blake in 10 years. For him to say, you're unwanted. Don't come back down here no more. And then a year later, he gets shot and killed. But he told me, let me tell you something. Ramona is a very evil witch. He even said that, but Blake used to perp me too. And Blake said that the biological mom, Frances, did voodoo and was a witch. So my time is running out and it's getting late. Thanks for listening to me just vent and tell all my business. I love y'all. And again, thank y'all for the support. You don't have to donate anything. But, if you want to help me towards a farther step of housing, if you want to just help me with a meal or help me eat or something, even if it's just $1. I mean, my financial information is down in the description box. So I'm going to remind myself to put that link in the description box also about become a cult leader. I'm remember to put that in the description box. So thanks for listening to me. I love y'all and bye-bye.